Wildcat Wednesday, and we have a special guest in the studio. It's Miss Julie Traxon. Thank you so much for coming in, Julie. Julie is the 4-H youth, she's in charge of 4-H youth development, and we're celebrating National 4-H Week. Now, as far as events that we may pay attention to, do you have anything associated with that to celebrate this?
There are clubs, well, across the state of Kansas as well as the nation, but they are taking part in community service activities.
Oh, tremendous. So
there's a lot of clubs that we have a 48 hours of 4-H campaign that goes on, and it generally runs the second weekend, so it'll be this upcoming weekend that a lot of the clubs are taking part in. They'll log their hours, and I can't even remember how many they've done last year. It was over 3,500, I believe. 4-H
traces its roots back to its original club, back to about 1902 in Central Ohio, and now nationwide. And one thing that you told me, you've got the kids.
Yes.
Recruiting the kids isn't the problem.
No.
But every successful, sustainable organization relies on adult leadership and volunteers.
Yes.
That's what you're looking for.
Yes. You have a passion, whether it's in your job or your hobby, share it with the kids. They want to learn it. There's kids out there that want to learn that information. These kids are up and coming. They are going to be in charge of our state, our country. I mean, let's share that information with them. And if you have a passion for that particular program or that activity, let's let the kids learn it as well.
And when you talk about programs and activities, a lot of people may go straight to, hey, I see kids with livestock at the county fair participating in 4-H. Are they associated with agriculture? It's so much more than that. Give me an idea of the broad scope of activities that you involve kids in.
It can be anything, Michael. Rockets, robotics, woodworking, crafts, people that want to do a reading project. If you just enjoy reading. Anything, knitting, sewing, anything, Legos.
Oh my gosh.
We've added all kinds of things. So it is whatever the child has an interest in, that's what you can do in 4-H.
But once again, you need to rely on people to pass down that knowledge. How do I get in touch with you? How do I become a volunteer with 4-H?
You can contact one of the extension offices. There's one in Crawford, which will be in Girard. There's one in Altamont. And Wilson County is Fredonia, which we've added recently, and then Montgomery County is Independence. So any of those offices, you can contact us to get that process started.
Now, my question for you is, how did you get started at the Extension office and specifically with 4-H youth development?
I was a 4-H'er myself.
Okay.
So I grew up in 4-H. My parents did not. Now they were new to that, and they had no idea what they were doing. So even if you don't have any idea what 4-H is, it's a great organization. You know, they did some studies on this, and Tufts University in 2012 put out their findings that youth will be less likely to take part in risky behaviors. They're much more likely to go on for higher education. So there are some perks there encouraging kids to be in 4-H. The life skills that they learn are awesome.
How have the programs expanded and grown since you've been a part of it?
A lot of the programs have come, like I said, robotics.
Robotics and rockets. We weren't doing that 30 years ago.
Not as much. The technology that has come into play, that's there. You can do that in 4-H. There's a way to incorporate that into your learning.
Just help Julie pass it along to the younger generation.
Yes.
Julie Traxon, I want to thank you, number one, for coming in, number two, for the commitment that you've made to the youth in our community.
Well, thank you, Michael. We appreciate the opportunity to share it.
Hey, National 4-H Week, celebrating with community service. You can't ask for anything better than that. Let's come back and look at the Skywatch Storm Tracker right after this.